Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Pack Africa. In this episode, we'll be discussing spirituality, at least as best as we know how, or as best as we all try to navigate it. I have always, I'll admit, envied people who seem to have attained this stillness, the chakras are aligned, they can quiet their mind at will, they can take it away from negativity and focus it on what really matters. I'm always like, wow, you guys are serious? You can really do that? I, of course, say that as someone whose thoughts really used to torture her, and mind could take on a deep, unnecessary rabbit hole of past mistakes, embarrassments, and failures, just to build this caricature of me, like to convince me that I'm not where I know I am. I'm not working as hard as I know I am. It always takes me back to past mistakes and embarrassments and all that. And I knew, and this was something that I needed to change. And in all my research and every book that I've read a lot of self-help books. Not all of them are always good, but I've read a lot of them. But there was always a common string that attached all of the things that I read, be it books about the mind and everything. It was meditation. There's not a single book that I've read that did not mention this. And yet it's something that I've started reading this about 3 years ago. Still, it's something that I have not mastered. But I'll admit it's because I never really make time for. So I'm really, really excited to have MotherK Masire here with me because I follow her on social media and I was introduced to her work by a close friend of mine who I got to know through interviewing as well. And I'm always looking at her page and she's one of those people I'm talking about who I really envy because she always has her mat and she's always in like yoga poses and meditating. So I really wanted to ask her about that because I believe that stillness, we need it, right? We need to incorporate it into our lives. Yes, so we're going to start by learning a bit about you because I'll admit I don't even know much apart from what I see online, what actually drew my interest. But I want to know the lady behind the mat and the meditation and the stillness.
Okay. My name is MotherK Masire. Mm-hmm. And who am I? I evolved from describing myself through the hats that I wear, as a being a mother, a wife. I just thought that didn't really represent who I am, or even when I answered it, I was like, okay, so that is that. So I've now turned to introduce myself, who I am, through my essence, what I think I'm here for. So having said that, I am a guardian of love and peace. That is, I believe I came to this world to guard peace and love. And my reason these two are very important for me is the fact that, when you have love within you and peace, you tend to interact with other people better. You interact with yourself better, as well as the environment that you find yourself. Hence, I just thought, okay, I'll make sure these two are things that I do protect for myself and for others. That's who MotherK is. And yes, I'm a mother of two that I birthed, and I have just way many kids. I think it's my name. That's what's one they say, Lina Lebesoromo. So yes, I am a mother of many. So in essence, that's who I am.
I really love that description. It's very hard because I think when I'm asked to describe myself, I always start with what I do because I'm not a mother yet, but it's always centered around what I do or what I hope to achieve. So it's very interesting to hear you put it like that. So I want to discuss a bit about your religious or spiritual journey from younger years. I want to know if it was typical of a Motswana, a regular Motswana bringing where you have to go to church. It's not negotiable. There's nothing else to even think it could be an option. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And how it has changed, what has changed, and the surety of your journey now.
Okay. When it comes to religion, I think for most people, it's, you find yourself in a particular religion based on the geographical location that you are born in. If you are born in a place that there's a lot of Islam, you will tend to be Muslim. Yes. So I was born in a Christian family. And like you said, when you are born in a Christian family, the obvious thing is to go to church, which I did. And I really, really loved my Sunday school. I think I stopped going to Sunday school in my teen years. And I do believe in God. I do believe that there is Jesus Christ. But over time, the space of worship, I found a lot of contradiction with what I thought the Bible or Jesus or God represented. For me, the message that I got as I was in the journey of Christianity was love.
Yes.
You know, the main one, loving your neighbor as you love yourself. I think that is the main one. Once you do that, all those other commandments will easily fall into place. So I took that one. And over time, as I got to get to know myself and MotherK coming through, I was interested in finding out, you know, if there is God, why are all these religious people going against each other? So I got in a journey of learning about different religion. Islam, for 2 years, I really got into it, just learning what they stood for, Buddhism and all that. And in essence, they stood for the same thing, love and taking care of each other. So having said that, you know, I decided, or I felt more drawn into having a special relationship with my creator, the divine, the source, you know, whatever people choose to call. Yes, and I think that was the beginning of my spiritual journey. I do visit a worship place, that is a church. I can visit a mosque, but in general, I call myself more spiritual than religious, because I find spirituality is more inclusive than religion. So that have been my journey. And for me, again, what is also very critical is the fact that we are very different, and we find ourselves in different spaces during our journey. And it would be really nice if people were not judgmental and allow people, because I'm spiritual, it doesn't make me any special than somebody who is a Christian or Muslim or Jew or Buddhist. No, it is really what you stand for, to be very inclusive and allow everyone to find themselves where they find comfort and would be able to be the best version of themselves.
Yes, I really, really love that answer. And there's a part where you mentioned about how it's kind of like people have deviated from the message of Christ, which is about love and being able to actually carry burdens like the son did. But my problem with church is actually twofold. Part of it has always been my fault. Just like everybody else, you go with an agenda. When I was young, I attached it to memories of my father because we'd go together. When he passed, I just didn't go. Maybe I was going because I was going with him. But then as I got older, when I went to church, it was the same as how people do it. It's because I was in need of something, or I was in pain, or trying to, you know how people do it these days. It was that. But then in getting there as well, because I read a lot, because I have this question in mind, I still could not really connect. I don't know if that's the word. My mind had all these questions, and it was like, I'll be trying to be in the service. But it's like my mind is telling me all these things that I've read that contradict what's going on, like believing in a human being. All these things would be thrown at me. So I decided to have a conversation with a church elder that I went to about that. And the only answer I could get was that I was trying to use or superimpose my will. I should let go and let God's will and just believe. And I honestly don't think God, as omnipotent as he is, would put these questions in my mind if they shouldn't be there, right? If they shouldn't be there, I don't think they would be there. I'll just be worshipping. But even after they say that, like to relent of my own will, I couldn't. And it was the biggest frustration of my life. So that's why I'm like, my problem is twofold. And the message now is a bit changed as well. People go for help, just like I did. I'll admit, I'm not different from them. People go for certain things, but they forget that we're to love and serve others. Now that I read a lot, but I don't go to church, I was start to because I love the community. Actually, I loved the community when I was there. But it's always the message of love, of serving others, of carrying others' burdens. And that is not now as emphasized as I guess it used to be. I want to discuss now. Oh, you wanted to comment on that?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I wanted to just say, you're right, but my comfort is the knowing that, everybody is doing the best that they can do at a particular point. So their viewpoint should not necessarily influence my viewpoint.
Yes.
And like you're saying, yes, go to church for community. And however, knowing that you have a personal relationship with God and, you listen and discern his message, than because you're in a space, you have to behave or do what other people in that space are doing.
Yes.
That is really I got to find that peace in the questioning, and that created peace for me within.
Yeah, I completely agree. I want to now get a bit into meditation, just by starting off with this question. Is it a mental or spiritual tool? Because every time I've attempted it, maybe that's the disconnect. It was after I've read these books that are not necessarily spiritual, but are about mastering your mind and changing habits and whatever. Meditation is always part of everything, like I said. And I've tried it, but have not been consistent. But I feel like I was trying to use it more to control my mind. You understand? To be able to still my mind, not think too much, not overthink, not emote a lot. But it seems to me that you use it as a spiritual tool to connect with the divine power. I've never really tried it to do that. I've tried it to learn how to control my mind. So explain to me the difference there.
Okay. So going back to your question in terms of meditation and what I use it for, I think meditation, one can never control the mind because the mind has a mind of its own. However, we do manage what activities that are within the mind. You manage them. Okay. Because, the first just jump into you. So going back to your question about meditation, if I use it for spirituality, I was saying meditation, I think, is one of the most misunderstood concepts. As a mindfulness coach, which at point I work with the corporate spaces, the minute I try to or talk about the use of meditation in a particular subject, case in point, let's say stress management, some people would feel very uncomfortable, say it's against their religion, and I'm thinking, okay, so tell me, what is meditation? And that is where somebody just stop and say, okay. Yeah. So what meditation is really what you use it. You can use it for, there are different types of meditations. You can use it for different purposes. But then what really in essence meditation is a state of mind that you are able to be an observer than an active participator of the mind. And we do that through, some people use visualization, some use breath, which I usually, when now I'm working in the head of a mindfulness coach, I use a lot because everybody has been gifted with that. If you're alive, you have your breath. And it doesn't matter whether you are poor, rich, fat, thin, it doesn't matter. You can access it at any time, which has become then my favorite when it comes to a secular point of view with meditation. And then you can also use meditation through affirmations that is usually used at church. They use the word of God as a form of meditation. So in essence, meditation is really a state of mind. And how do I use it? I use it for different things, at times for spiritual connection with the divine, at times as a way of healing my body, at times as a way of just calming my body. So I use it for different purposes. It is a tool that have become part of who I am.
Wow. No, I really like that. I want to talk about, I think when you said affirmations, it kind of plays into this a bit, but the voice in the head. We all grew up with it, like the mean voice, just like you have maybe an awkward encounter that any teenager would have, say for teenagers. but in your mind it makes you feel as if you were like a truly horrible person who totally sucked, who is totally worthless. It can go from 0 to 100 real quick. You can just be having an awkward encounter and then all of a sudden you suck, you are worthless. It's so insane. And why are we more susceptible to the horrid voice convincing us of our worthlessness? Because there are moments where we feel good, we laugh with friends, but they never build into feeling amazing. And yet bad moments always build into feeling like such a worthless person.
Okay. It's the way we are socialized. And like I was saying, our parents or their parents always did the best that they could at that point. And our socialization, an affirmation of encouragement. You have to be hard on yourself to show that you care about a particular situation. If you have a situation and you're not putting so much of your thought on that situation, the way we are socialized, it's just like an indication that you don't care. An example, you don't have a job and you just graduated and it have been 2 years. You are supposed to show that you care. You're supposed to be thinking about that, talking to everybody that you meet about your need for this job. And when you're alone, you'll be trying to motivate yourself like, I'm already working, maybe I should do a business. And that on its own, the way the mind works is whatever your thought goes, your energy goes to that space. So you will have, like you're saying, it can start from 0 to 100. How that happens is through thought and effect. A thought only lasts 16 seconds.
Whoa.
However, and then it activates emotion. And then your emotion activates more thoughts. So what happens is when you have that particular encounter that is not pleasant or might be a negative thought, if you don't change focus on that within, say, 16 seconds, another thought like that happens. This comes because of a universal law called the law of attraction. What you think about, you bring about. So you will have a number of those thoughts coming in your mind. You're thinking, okay, here I am late again. And then you're thinking, that's why things don't work out for me because I'm always late. You may be thinking in that way. And then, then you have more thoughts that are not good feeling, that is negative thoughts. And then what happens over time, they build momentum. Physics. When you build momentum, that thing is much stronger. So then, and you find yourself building momentum on a negative energy, and then it becomes very difficult to bring yourself back because you are far off. And science also teaches us when something is on momentum, and then you try to stop it like a car, it will. So that's what happens. We need to be very mindful of the thoughts that are active in our heads so that we manage what's going on in our heads, and then we can redirect it to feeling better.
Yes, I completely agree. So I want to talk about affirmations as like practical tools to change like negative behavior. I've read this book, I don't know if you read it, it's called Self-Talk. And it just said how we have this script churning out like negative affirmations about, for example, I had this one. Sometimes I still have it, like, I'm so stupid. And it will happen after the slightest thing. And I'm not stupid at all. But, you repeat something long enough, it just keeps happening. You keep saying these things, and it was saying you have to be conscious of that and then write positive affirmations to replace them. My problem again with that is not sticking to it. What do you think of affirmations as a way to help in the process, kind of slow down that momentum of going down the rabbit hole of thought?
Affirmations, a very interesting topic for me.
Yes.
Reason being, as a mindfulness coach, I would suggest it to my people as a tool, but I've always been very honest about that. I didn't use affirmations for myself.
Okay.
I couldn't connect with affirmations. I only started using affirmations last year. I knew it was a tool that worked, but I didn't connect with it. And like I was saying when I started, we are all different, and different tools work for us differently. So I eventually got to understand them better. I would not just do something because it's supposed to be done. I need to really understand it. And I feel in the understanding, that's when you can then get the results. If you don't understand how something works, I believe the results won't be consistent, or they will be haphazard, because you're not really connecting from an authentic state of being. So going back to affirmations, before I get there, I would like to just share that you are aware that we are all energy, right? Everything is energy.
Yes.
Human beings don't. It's just that it ovulates in different speed. And because we are energy, whatever you focus on, your energy goes to. So when it comes to affirmation as words, you need to believe what you're saying. And you have to be in vibrational accordance with that word. When you're feeling ugly and you say, I'm pretty, that is lip service. Nothing is going to happen. If you are feeling really broke and say, I'm abundant, richness is my birthright, inside your head at the same time you're rolling your eyes like, I'm saying all that, but I don't even have 5 kilo wa taxi. So that energetically is contradictory. You have to be in alignment with what you're saying for something to happen. So what I found out about what I'm using now and what I'm teaching, because as well as I'm a teacher, I'm also a student. As I teach, I learn. As I learn, I also teach. So what I teach now when it comes to affirmations, because now they are becoming one of my favorite things, is to start general, to start with things that you believe. I am grateful that I am healthy, or I am healthy, and you're feeling healthy. You are moving your hand, and when you say that thing, put a Y as well to activate that energy in the believing of what you're saying. You can just start with that. Let's start with the one that is unbelievable. Like, you are feeling really broke. You are feeling like nothing is going to happen in your life financially. And then your coach or then why are you saying that? Yeah, because I went to bed having something to eat, I was saying we start with something generic that we believe. In terms of abundance, let's say you want that, you can just start with what you have. You have all you need, which will be a fact. In terms of generic thing, and you just keep building up on that until you get to a stage where you believe. I always eventually manage. Isn't that true? Even when you don't have money?
Yes.
That you eventually. So, in essence, when you want affirmations to work for you, go with something that you believe and you build on that. Don't start with where you would like to be, because the fact that you would like to be there, that means you're not there. And you cannot lie to your inner energy. It knows you're not there. So you're not going to align with that. So you build yourself up until you get into alignment.
Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Lip service.
It makes a lot of sense. I want to discuss happiness, because everybody and their mother, they want to be happy and successful. That's what everybody really wants. So is happiness a coordinated effort, affected in part by what happens to us on the outside, or is it purely internal? Like, you can only find your happiness when you go within, or can it be influenced, like most people think, by outside circumstances? Because, for example, what makes the most interesting thing that I always encounter is like these people who are very successful, they've attained things that, say, in Botswana we're working towards. Like, they have cars that they want, they're beautiful children and beautiful wife, and all of that, the job, and yet they're still very unhappy. What causes that?
Happiness comes within. And those material things are, an after effect of happiness. They won't make you happy because that's just temporary. It's a feeling. Happiness comes within. And the word that I like using, which is joy, simple joy. And then, the symptoms or that is, for lack of a better word, is happiness of joy within yourself. And the question may be somebody like, oh, yeah, MotherK, you always say stuff like, really, how am I going to be happy when I'm struggling and you say I should be happy? How am I going to be happy? The thing is, you have to go within yourself and be totally know yourself and find things that you are content with. The reason that I say happiness comes within is everything, like you're saying, that we are doing or that we want. We think it. We want them so that we feel better. I want more money because I believe if I have money, I will feel good because I'll be able to get the stuff that I want. I want a partner because I think I will feel good when I have somebody that I talk to in the evening at home and plan my life with. Everything that a human being wants is because they think it will make them feel better. But what I'm saying is, when we feel better, we'll then be able to get the things that we want. And how do we get that? By focusing on what makes us feel good.
Yes.
And there's always that. Personally, for me, it's nature. Even if I'm broke, when I'm in nature and I'm not thinking about my brokenness,
you're happy.
I am happy. Yes. The minute you take your mind out of how you're feeling right now from either what have transpired in the past or what you're anticipating for the future, you then activate thoughts that are misaligned to your true being, and you're not happy.
Yes.
So happiness can be activated within by finding alignment. And when you're in alignment, you can then also focus on things that are already working out. And I like giving an example of a buffet. When you're at the buffet, there are all these beautiful meals.
Yes, different types of food.
And yes. And within that, there's something that you don't eat. Some people may not like an olive. And let's say olive and feta cheese. Like, when they see it, they shake or they just feel like they can throw up. So are you going to then look at the olive and the feta cheese and feel nauseous? No, you're going to pick what you like, and you're going to be so happy and feeling yummy about the strawberry, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
It's the same analogy. So why do we then focus on what is not working? What is making us sad?
Yeah.
While there are other things, regardless of how small it is, a feeling is a feeling. It will evoke that, especially when you don't have control over it.
Yes. I agree because I like
all it will do then.
Oh yeah, I like the part where
your energy.
I like the part where you said that you have to be, and then all these things that you want, that you think will make you happy, then you get them. Because I realized that I used to want the same things that women want. I'm a hopeless romantic, wanting like a partner to build a life with and a career and all that. And it's not like it was lack of trying or not getting in situations where I could, but I was bringing that old version of me with the trust issues, with the anger issues, and with mistrusting and trauma, right? So I would try to get in this. I'm not saying they were like perfect people, but it was also my fault that some of these didn't work out. But when I started focusing on myself and I was like single for 2 years and was reading and all of that, now I'm more understanding. Now I can actually listen to someone else without trying to be defensive. And I think it's the reason why my relationship is now working, because I'm not thinking about me, and how I should not be done wrong, and how, you understand, I'm not defensive all the time. I had to do that though on my own. No one really helped me through that. Is something that I had to deal with. So I really agree with that point. How do you think we can teach this like more effectively? Because I think it's needed, hey? Especially in our country, we blame a lot, and maybe it's justifiable in most cases, maybe. But
no,
it's not. But we are really blaming nations.
Not. You know what?
Yeah.
You know that saying that say we create our reality.
Yes.
Yes. It's a sad truth, you know. We want to believe that when things are going good for us, and when they are not, we want to blame somebody else, because we absolutely have no control on how other people behave, and they don't have control on how we behave.
Yes.
That is how we respond to situations. How you respond to situation will then give a result of that response. Cause and effect. I do this is what is likely to happen. So most of the time we react, we don't respond. We do a knee-jerk reaction instead of pausing and consciously choosing what we would like, because whatever you choose will always have an effect, you know, so that even if it's not exactly what you want, you are aware that that was your choice, and this is you creating your own reality. So we daily, every minute, create our reality. Me agreeing to have this conversation with you, I've created a reality that I've had a conversation. I wouldn't have had this reality if I didn't. Yes. So at every point in time, you are creating your reality. The question is, are you conscious or are you doing it blindly?
Yeah. That's actually a perfect point, because we're definitely doing it blindly, I would say. And I know we have to be responsible for ourselves at some point. We all have to be. But it's like they don't know not to expect. They don't know not to demand. It's like they don't know that even if everything was perfect, like how the things that they say they want maybe our state to do, that even if it was like that, they'll still have problems, right? Because they're not dealing with the individual. And the individual has a lot of things to work through, probably on a daily. I don't think it really ever ends. What do you think? Does it ever end? Is there a point of like perfect peace where you never feel bad?
It doesn't end. It doesn't end, because we are eternal beings. And it is in our struggle that we come with solutions, you know. But the question is, we shouldn't then take those curveballs or those struggles or those point in time where things are not pleasant as an end to a means. But, you know, when you're experiencing what you don't want, you really validate what you want. And then in your now quest to what you want, then you've created something new. If it ended, that means we won't evolve.
Again, to my question, how do we really communicate that to people? It's like most people, not just in this country, they think there's actually a point of no pain and no challenges. And I think even in my mind, some of the things I discuss even with my partners, like, oh, you better not do this or that. You understand? Because I guess my mind is trying to avoid as much pain as possible. But what happens when something happens and maybe the pain caused you was not even intentional? How do you deal with that? Are we always going to be leaving and cutting people off because they're toxic and we don't want pain? We feel we shouldn't experience pain. #soft life.
Like I was saying, that it doesn't end. It's how you view what you call pain.
Yeah. That
will then create the pain. You know, the suffering, not the pain. Pain is inevitable. When there's something hot, yes, I'll feel the pain. But the suffering is what we have control over. And that is the perception that we give the situation and how you label it. Nothing has meaning except the meaning that you give it. That's why people can go through the same experience and, you know, view it very differently. That's why the two kids can be brought up in the same family, the same time, everything similar, but they will view the world differently because they are individuals and their perspective and perceptions are different. So it's how you view the situation.
Right.
Is that there to involve you somewhere, or is it just like, why me?
I think we always lean towards the why me part. MotherK, I really hope to see you keep doing what you're doing. And you said something about being a coach and a teacher. I want to know more about that. And if I want to learn how to be more mindful, how do I engage with you? Where do you help people who want to get on that journey?
Okay. I am a co-founder of an organization called Afroboto. We do work mental health, mindfulness, which now Afroboto is going through some change, which will be communicated in its page in Facebook. So that's how people can. Currently, I work more with people on mindfulness. On the spirituality end of things, I find that my students find me. Because it's not something that you advertise. I don't believe spirituality and learning somebody's own personal journey is something that to be advertised. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And however, I'm also through my Facebook, I find that's where I meet a lot of people who will then engage me or just say we would like to chat. I'm very, very open. Like I was saying, I'm a student and a teacher. So when people want to ask questions, that's where they find me, MotherK Masire, my personal Facebook page, and currently Afroboto. But however, Afroboto is going to change. That information will be communicated at the end of January on our Facebook page.
I hope. No, I was going to say, I hope everybody who listens to this actually follows Afroboto and you, because I can't emphasize enough how important this is. This is actually, for me, I believe the starting point to everything. I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing if I hadn't tried to change my life, my thoughts, and all this pattern. I wouldn't have been successful at anything, not even relationships. So that's why I feel it's very important for us to open these conversations and for people to listen. Thank you so much for making the time. I'm hoping to get more sessions with you in the future, visual even. I think that would be very interesting and fun. Yes, we could include a session.
Thank you very much for reaching out, and thank you for listening to your inner voice that said, I want you to meet me, which I think is the journey that you are in.
Yes.
The next time maybe a different conversation is how I got here. I designed a program for myself called The Journey Within, which was really about self-awareness. We will have that conversation some other time, hopefully. Yes, and then the other thing that I do is facilitating retreats. Some are weekend retreats, that some are day retreats, and that's where the depth really gets in. So and I really wish you fun in this journey.
Thank you so much.
Don't take it too seriously, because in our childlike and fun and feeling good, that's when a lot of answers come in our Eve way. We are not open to receiving the messages that we need. So just find that and find stillness as much as possible. That is something that I tell anybody. Yes. Stillness, rest. Stillness, rest. Breathe.
Yes. Thank you so much. I needed to hear that last part. Yeah. Looking forward to our next conversation. Have a good day.
Have a beautiful day.
Okay, thank you. Bye.